Welcome back. Last time our party cleared out the small caves near Threshold. There they found Malon's sister Liz, but no Bargle. I won't do an XP and loot review every episode, but this was the first dungeon. Ben, Donard and Malon each earned 360 XP, and their 10% prime requisite bonus bumped that up to 396. Liz, who showed up at the end, failed a backstab and failed a search traps roll, got a nominal 92 XP. Her 5% bonus bumped that up to 96. That's not a bad amount of XP for such a small dungeon. It comes mostly from the rock monster at 300 XP and 600 gold worth of gems. Copper, silver and electrum coins were exchanged at the temple and they charged a 10% fee. The gems were harder to get rid of. Merchants tend to not walk around bragging how much free capital they have lying around their house. It was Liz who made friends with a young woman her own age that had a brother who lived on Fogor Isle, which is the bad part of town. This is where she got her thieves' tools from. She got the name of a legitimate merchant who specialises in jewellery. He charged a whopping 50% on the estimated value of the gems. This will be the normal fee. In total, they found 817 XP worth of treasures, but after converting it into cash, they ended up with 340 gold. So that's 100 for each Ben, Malon and Donard. Liz got 40 as she helped shift the gems. Ben and Donard got reasonably beat up, which was shocking considering this was meant to be a one-person adventure. So that was 2 days in bed just to get back to health. Malon relearned his sleep spell and he called in on Ben to check to see if he was getting better. Ben never had visitors before, so that was new to him. But really, Malon was just itching to get out there and cast more spells. Liz had always fancied herself as a loner and a treasure hunter. Being trapped and possibly killed in the room with the skeletons rattled her own bones. She conceded to herself that she might be better off in a party, and her brother's new party was the only one in town. She had no interest in finding Bargle, and just assumed that once this character was found, the party would break up. Donard bought a holy symbol at 25 gold, so he can now turn undead. Liz realised that half her problem is that she has the wrong equipment. She has no skill with a sling or a normal sword, so she bought a short bow and a short sword. These, according to the weapons mastery rules, are her two basic skills. That used up her money and she had to flog her old weapons. If I ruled the world, then thieves would suffer skill penalties for carrying anything other than short weapons. A longbow is over 5 foot tall, and a normal sword is a heavy weapon. These are cumbersome things and not conducive to sneaking. And since I actually do rule this world, that's what will happen. So Liz is equipped with short weapons. Ben and Donard did spend most of their time in bed, but got up to drink some beer at the Gold Dragon. It was one of the few inns that Ben didn't frequent, so the regulars were fine with him. They asked around for any rumours of anything new or unusual. Donard has a charisma of 4, so it took a lot of pints to get a conversation going. Eventually the name of Castle Mistamere came up, so on day 3, party gathered together and set off. Hello and welcome back, and we're on our way to Castle Mistamere, which looks like this from the outside. I should imagine this looks quite craggy and rocky, with well-fitted stone walls with concrete mortar in between. Apparently the second level of the castle is in utter ruins, and this is a mountainside that it backs onto. There's a little piece here that reads very much like my little introduction. Everything seems quite nice as we pass through farmers' fields, and there's 1,000 gold offered for the capture of Bargle. So we're going to approach the castle from here, and we're told that these 2 outer doors are missing. Currently that's a gap, and they lie here rotting, and as we slowly approach this gate we see something shift and move under these doors. So we're going to send 2 people forward who will naturally be our fighter and our cleric, to investigate. And as soon as we get close to the door, something comes out of it. Suddenly, the ground along one edge moves and a hole appears. There's something under the door. You see a large worm-like monster stick its head out of a hole under the door. It has 8 long tentacles in a circle around its mouth. It doesn't come all the way out, just far enough to attack you, name the victim. This sounds like an H.P. Lovecraft creature. Right, well, I have a blue dice for Donald and a red dice for Ben. Whoever gets the lowest is the victim, and it's Ben. Right, this gets 8 attacks, and it's a 3+ monster, so it only needs a 14 to hit Ben, and it rolls 8 times. Now the odds of it missing all 8 times are non-existent, so it hits twice, 2 19s. It misses twice. It misses 2 more times. And it hits a 3rd time. So Ben needs to make 3 saving throws versus paralysis. And for him, that is a 14. So he has to throw 3 14s or more. And he fails twice, so he's paralysed. And he fails 3 times. Okay, so he's paralysed 3 times. I find it unlikely that anyone could survive that. So let's roll for initiative. 8 attacks, they all either have to fail or you have to make all your saving throws. The odds are remarkably few. And the carrion crawler gets initiative. So it runs forward and attacks Donard. And it only needs a 13 to hit him. And it hits once. Twice 3. 2 misses. It's 4, 5, 6, 7. It hits 5 times in total. So he has to make 5 saving throws versus paralysis, which is again a 14 or more. He makes one of them, fails 1, so he's paralysed. But we'll just go through it. Fails 2 and fails 3, so he's paralysed. Malin is going to cast a sleep spell. I'm sure, well, if there's only one monster, it will automatically work. Let's just roll 2d8, and he gets 4, so that is 4 hit dice and monsters. So that is the monster killed. Liz takes out her sword, and both she and Malin hack at its neck, I suppose. Alright. Well, they've nothing to do but wait for the boys to wake up, and if the paralysis takes 1d8 turns. But while they sit there looking at the 2 guys, at first they didn't know had they been killed, but now they realise they're just sleeping. Well, it seems to be a form of sleep. They're breathing. Rigor mortis seems to have set in. Right. Okay, there's nothing else to do but for them to sit and wait. The monster is half in the hole, but there doesn't seem to be anything else underneath it. And oh well, they're waiting for a good long time. They'll have to wait for at least 3 hours, I think that is. Or 30 minutes. I'll check. Whatever it is, they sit and wait. They see nothing else. And eventually the 2 guys come round. There is no damage taken, luckily. Right, that is Malin's sleep spell used. Together, they pull the dead carrion crawler out of the hole. Because while they were waiting, Liz did see some glinting, shining at the bottom. Of course, she likes the treasure. They then lift the rotting doors away, and Liz, rather foolishly, is the first to go, and she goes down the hole. These are the rotting doors here. They get pulled to one side. She jumps down the hole a bit too hastily, and she discovers the body of a dead kobold. The dead kobold has a sack, and in it are garnets worth 100 gold pieces, and a bag containing 15 copper pieces and a coin. She's not going to bother with the copper pieces, but she's very happy with the garnets. Right. And while they were scrabbling around, there's another set of inner doors, which must have been made rather recently. They slam shut, and that stops the party looking at the treasure, and they look up, and they obviously know that there's somebody in there, which they'd never thought of before. Right, now there's a hole in the wall here, and there are some holes in the stone masonry, but I think it would be better if they crept over to there. So that's what they're going to do, and they're going to look through the hole. Right, and here they see a bunch of 10 kobolds. Right, now the kobolds haven't seen them as they're milling around here, and I suspect the kobolds are going to be extremely frightened of this thing, since there's a dead kobold at the bottom of this. So they're unlikely to come out. If anything, they probably think this creature here has gotten another victim, and they're probably very glad to close these doors. So everybody is here looking down, and they see 10 kobolds. I would say we have surprise. Now they're armed with arrows, and arrows can do a lot of damage. Donard, who's never seen these before, thinks that these little creatures look pretty incompetent and couldn't hit anything. But Ben says, yeah, but what if they hit me when they're aiming for you? Being hit by a stray arrow is just as bad as being hit by a direct arrow. So what are they going to do? Well, I think we have to attack them. Now Donard has a sling, which is short, which I believe will be long range. A sling is 160 feet for long and 80 for medium. Ben has a crossbow, which is 120 feet medium, and Liz has her short bow, which is 100 feet medium. Judging from this, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 100 feet. So that's medium range for Ben and Liz, and long range for Donard. And Donard already has a -1 dex penalty. Okay, let's roll. Let's see how many of these kobolds we can take out. Half hit dice monsters, 4 HP each. Let's just keep a tally. So we'll go with Ben first and his crossbow. He throws a 6. That's a miss. They have AC 7. He needs a 12. Let's throw for Liz. She gets a 12 and does 2 damage to 1. So that's down to 3. And Donard needs a 12 plus 1 for long range and another for his dex, so he needs a 14. And his slingstone does 1d4 damage. And he throws a 14 and does 4 damage. That's 1 down to 1. Right, that's surprise over. Okay, let's get initiative. Now the kobolds are aware of us, and we again have this mutual initiative thing. Let's roll for them. Right, we are hiding. I'm going to give us a +1 for +1 for cover. So they need an 18 to hit Ben. Let's roll 5 rolls for Ben. Miss. Oh, sugar. That's 1 hit and 4 damage. Miss. That's another hit. And a miss. He's down to 3. Oh boy. Let's roll 5 rolls for Donald. 19, that's 1 damage. They need a 17 to hit him. Miss. 2, 3, miss. 4, miss. 5, miss. It's our turn. We have Ben, who throws a 1. We have Liz, who misses. And we have Donard, who misses. Right, next turn. And we get initiative. I think we're going to hightail it out of here. They can easily kill us. So we're going to take our initiative and we're going to run through this gap. By the time we dodge into here, the kobolds won't get an attack because we'll already have this cover. And we'll be gone. Now the kobolds may think this carrion crawler is still alive. Or they may think we're leading them into a trap. So their job is to guard here. They're not going to follow us. And we're going to have to make it back to Threshold for a good 2 nights rest again. God, that was pretty crap. Okay, we got to... Okay, this is quite a hard encounter. Right, I have to say, this carrion crawler reminds me of... I don't know if you've ever played the Baldur's Gate games, but when you leave Candlekeep and you're level 1, there's a wolf that can completely decimate you and your party. You know, and this carrion crawler seems to be the same thing. I have to say, I like the contrast between having 1 hard enemy and having 10 small enemies. You know, a nice different setup. But we're going to make it back to Threshold, and we're going to have to come back again and do these kobolds. Right, we're back again and everybody has had a 2 days rest in Threshold. Liz and Malin had to... Well, they didn't really have to explain their absence to their parents. They're grown-ups. They just happened to live at home. Donner came back to the temple, a bit battered and bruised as expected, and Ben spent another couple of days shored up in his own house. So we're back here again, and the setup is as before. And the kobolds have been told to guard this gate, and that is what they're doing 2 days later. I suppose the kobolds expected something to happen that day, like an army of people attacking here, or maybe even this carrion crawler. But after 2 days, the excitement has died down and they are back on their normal duty. So Ben and Donald are here, looking at the situation again, wondering how do we take them on. And while they are thinking of this, they hear from behind strange chanting, and when they look up, they see Malin behind them waving his arms, and some sort of ball of light flies from his hands into this area here, and when they follow it, they see all the kobolds fall asleep. Liz walks over to her brother, flushed from killing the carrion crawler. "You and me," she whispers to him. "We do the real work around here." "We need to kill this lot before they wake up," says Ben. "Keep one for questioning," adds Donald. Ben proceeds to stab a sleeping kobold in the neck. Donald smashes his hammer into a skull. They look up at Liz and Malin, who are standing there horrified. "Well?" asks Donald. "Jump to it." "Is this necessary?" asks Liz. The idea of sticking a dagger into someone's neck was not part of her dreams of treasure hunting. "You have a sword," Donald says. "What do you think that's for?" "Defending, actually," she says, not really having thought about it. "You're going to have to get used to a lot worse than this," says Ben. "This is easy. At least they aren't trying to stab you back." Best get some practice in. Liz unsheathes her sword. Malin takes his dagger. He goes over to a sleeping kobold, kneels over it, raises his dagger over the dogman's neck. He turns his head away as he thrusts downward, and misses. He is forced to look so as to aim his second blow. The dagger goes into the creature's neck, and blood spurts out. He stands up and looks at the blood on his hands. It's disgusting, but he feels he wants to try that again. But by the time he's ready, Ben and Donald have killed the rest of the kobolds. Liz killed one. She looks grim. I didn't enjoy that, she whispers to her brother. It's not how the bards tell it in the taverns. The reality is a bit grim. Just think of the gold, her brother advises ruefully. Donald walks up to them. He says to Malin, it can be good to have magic on our side. I hope you live long enough to cast more than one spell. He walks off. Was that him being nice? Malin asks his sister. That was him being extra nice, she replies. Ben has tied a kobold up. He cuffs it around the head to wake it up. He asks Malin for his dagger, which he holds to the kobold's throat. Bargle, Ben demands. No speak, Bargle, says the kobold. Draw some blood, says Donard flatly. That helps. Isn't that against your faith? Asks Malin. Isn't that why you use blunt weapons? Donard glares at him, jaw clenched. Correct. Who's your master? Says Ben. You just kill him, the kobold cries, pointing to one of the others. He doesn't know anything, and if he runs off he might bring others, says Liz. Don't kill me, the kobold pleads. Let me live and I show you treasure. It had better be a lot of treasure, Liz warns. Show us this treasure and we'll let you go, Ben tells the kobold. He turns to the others. We've killed his pack. He has no one to run to. So the kobold shows them to a little hole hidden under the rocks. It contains a small iron box. Inside is 100 gold pieces and an onyx gem. Ben keeps his word and lets the kobold go. It hightails it out of there. Searching the remaining dead kobolds, they find 80 arrows and 80 copper pieces. Donard takes the money to give to the temple. Okay, so they have killed all the kobolds, let one free, and now we actually have to go into the castle in our quest for Bargle and treasure. So here we are at these doors here, and we open them, and this hallway here is empty. There's trash and rubble lying around. 2 empty passageways here, east and west, and a door to the north. Now what seems sensible is to not try the door, but to either try east or west. Which one? Now again, Malin has to hold the lamp. And as they explore this room, moving at the snail's pace of 60 feet every 10 minutes, that's one use of the flask of oil, and there's 24 altogether. So let's take a poll for east or west. 1 to 3 is west, 4 to 6 is east. And everybody unanimously decides they want to go east. So we go into the east hall here, and there's a fireplace. Now everybody is searching around the room. As always, that should be just expected. They find an old pillow stuffed with feathers, which they don't really see any use for, so they're not going to take that. However, Liz decides she's going to look up the chimney, but Ben warns her and says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Given the age of this castle, you never know what's in ruins and what isn't. Especially since the upper floor is actually in ruins, and that's where the chimney would go. So he shoves his quarterstaff into the chimney and gives it a good rattle, and sure enough, timbers fall down. It says here you make a saving throw versus wands to see if you can avoid the damage. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to give him a +6 because he wasn't actually underneath the chimney. He tried to wisely not be there, so he needs to throw a 13 with a +6 bonus. And he throws a 17 anyway. Well, he's well out of it. He's saved. And what do they find? They search the rubble and they find a loose brick, and in it is a silver dagger. And that's worth 75 gold pieces. Well, I'm going to write that down. Definitely. And Liz puts that in her bag as though she was the one that found it. Alright, we're going to continue east again. And we're in this room here. 34. And this room is filled with a lot of storage boxes, crates, and the like. Well, for a start, they don't open the boxes, they knock on them with sticks and their weapons to see if any of them sound hollow, if any of them sound full. Most of them sound hollow, and when they do open them, they just find rotting goods underneath. But, well, let's see. We're going to have to pick somebody. It's the two usual frontline fighters. And it's Ben this time. He sees the red dice, he rolled lowest. And he's knocking on a crate with his quarterstaff. And sure enough, this zombie stands up and comes out of it, which is the last thing anybody was expecting. The zombie surprises the character, opening the box of a roll of 1 to 4. Let's see if it is a surprise. And it isn't. Okay, well, I suppose because the zombie's really slow. So, okay, this zombie stands up. Does Ben surprise it on a roll of 1 to 2? No. Okay. So let's just get initiative going here. And the zombie wins initiative. And it takes a swing at Ben. And it needs a 16 to hit. And it misses. That would have done a hell of a lot of damage. Actually, I should have thrown a 1d8. Oh well. Let's pretend that I did. It has 12 hit points. Ben's gonna have his go. Oh, there it is. And he throws an 8 plus 2 is a 10. That's a miss. He needs an 11. What a shame. That would have been a good hit. Liz is going to shoot it. So we should have done missile first. She gets a plus 2 bonus. Oh well, she easily hits, but does a rather weak 1 point of damage. Now, Donard, who bought his holy symbol, is going to try and turn this zombie. And he fails. To turn undead, he needs a 9. Okay, well that's his go over. Alright. I suppose it's the zombie's go. The zombie went. Now we're on round 2. And we get initiative. Right. Ben, not happy. Being surprised. Throws his 11. Plus 2, he throws a 13. Throws a measly 1. Plus 2 is 3. Zombie's down to 8. I keep forgetting. Missile first. Liz throws a 10 plus 2. That easily hits. Yep. She just hits. She hits AC 7 and the zombie has 8. She does really good damage. Nice one. 6. And the zombie's down to 2 HP. Well done, Liz. And next we have Donard. You can only turn once. And if you fail, that's it failed. And he throws a miserable 5. Right. Malin, by the way, is holding the lamp. So that's that knocked off. And let's see what the zombie does. And it misses. It needs 16 to hit. Round 3. We win initiative again. This thing has only 1 hit point left. Right, Liz, bow duty. Misses. Ben. Hits. 20. Always hits. Does a 5. Cleaves that zombie's head off. And that's it. And we search the room. Nobody took any damage there. Oh, that's good. But we need to rest and recover. Now, where do we go next? Do we decide to go further in, or do we decide to go to the west and clear out these front rooms? You would assume that rooms would have windows. Well, these ones would. Okay, maybe they don't. Let's take another group decision. I think the preference would be to clear out the front 4 rooms. So I'm going to do a 1 to 4. They go back west, and a 5 to 6. They continue on. Well, Well, everybody decides to go back that way. Liz absconded from the vote. She said that, don't ask me. Right. So we're back here in room 22. And we're searching this room here. So we just found a table, and on the table are 3 rather tarnished old silver teaspoons. They look, I'm sure, a bit brown and dirty, but Liz gives them a rub on her sleeve, and they come up silver, and they're worth 10 silver each, and a bag of small dried peas, which again, I can't imagine they see any use for, so they're not going to take that. And there's another fireplace. Now, considering the damage that the debris that fell out of that fireplace, Ben is going to again shove his quarterstaff into this one, and lo and behold, rubble falls down, but out with it comes a giant bat. Okay, now let's see if that... Now the bat, I'm sure, was just as surprised to have a big quarterstaff shoved up its chimney. So let's see if either of us are surprised. And the answer is no. Let's roll for initiative. And again, it's mutual. That has come up quite a lot. Right, let's roll for the bat. Now the bat is attacking Ben, and it does a 1d4 bite damage. And it needs 16 to hit. And it throws a 3. Good. Right. Our turn. Missile duty. I think we're going to have everybody on this. Now the bat is flying obviously at either head height or above. And Liz, excellent shot. Again, 20 plus 5 damage. The bat has 9 HP. Right. Next, we're going to have melee. And Ben is using his quarterstaff. That's what he had in his hand when the bat flew out. I suppose I should have done that roll for when the zombie attacked, as he was knocking on the crate with his quarterstaff. Oh well, too late. And it doesn't matter what he has. He threw a 2. Okay. Donard throws an 18, hits easily. 2 plus 1 damage is 3. The bat is down to 1 HP. Now what can Malin do? He's got his quarterstaff out, and obviously the bat is like flying around above his head. So what does he need? It is an AC of 6. He needs a 13 plus 1 is a 14. Oh, and he hits! He does 6 damage. Oh, well done. The first time, probably the only time he's ever going to kill anything. There you go. The bat is dead. If the bat is hit, okay, we don't do a morale check. It's dead. We search the rubble and we find an onyx gem worth 50 gold pieces. Here we are, 1 dead bat. I think we'll leave it there for today. See you again next time.